You're watching Morning at NTV.
Welcome back to Business Updates, and like I told you before we took that bumper we're going to be having a conversation on the untapped opportunities in local tourism. Where can you put your money? And so in studios, I'm joined by Mr. Godwin Muhanguzi. He is a financial expert and consultant here in the country. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Marla, and my pleasure being at NTV.
You're welcome. Of course, the area that you want to look at is investment in Airbnb. And it's quite untapped, and yet people can actually make clean money, stress-free. Tell us more about that.
Thank you very much. I'll not concentrate on A and B because I'll be making an advert for them. I want to look at local investment. How do I help a fellow Ugandan to make their house as a means of income other than just sleeping and snoring throughout the day?
Right.
So when you look at this, it's a very, it's a very simple principle. You have a house which is idle, whereby even you cannot stay in and occupy fully, and you have only 2 children, but you have 5 bedrooms. Mm-hmm. So that's a means whereby you can make the other rooms be occupied. I mean, make them look a little bit nicer than you think, and put your advert somewhere on Airbnb. But also I want to look at Facebook, mm-hmm. because Airbnb has some issues whereby someone has to go through a lot of registration, but also there's some service fee to pay, but also some commission, which someone may not be comfortable to pay. Mm-hmm. Because there's a monthly bill that you have to pay. But for Facebook, you don't have to pay anything. So I don't want to have excuses here. So that's why we need to simplify this discussion. But for starters, I want to say you need to have the financial literacy background. Mm-hmm. What is financial literacy? The ability to have skills to make financial sound decisions. I heard you say in your news that Africa, poverty. The main challenge we have here, Mala, is the ability to make financial decisions. And the main cause of that is we do not live within our means. As Africans, you find someone who wants to live a big life and they can accommodate. So I want our discussion to be put there. How do I live within my means, but make money with my house?
So what you're saying is that, of course, the regulated space is Airbnb, and they've actually taken forth in terms of leading with regards to people just renting out space in their own home, not necessarily having to move out, but earning an extra back from that empty room or bedroom that you actually don't use. So you've said the first step is agree and accept that you have space that you're not using.
Exactly.
The other thing, you have to be comfortable with co-sharing maybe space with a stranger, so to speak.
All right.
So what's the other move moving forward? As much as we know marketing comes into play, let's look at the coin aspect of it. For example, if I have just an extra room that maybe has a basic bed, and that's it, how much do I stand to earn? Because people will be looking at, is it beneficial? I mean, is it worth the while? Bringing a stranger on board for me to earn a back, what's the money aspect looking like?
I get your concern here, but also you've lived with strangers enough. You've lived with your relatives. You lived with your village mates who travel all the one, come to your house. Do you understand them? No, it is just for prestigious reasons. For someone to know that when I go to Kampala, I sleep at Mala's house. As if you want to be contesting for member of parliament in that small area. What I'm talking about is being able to make financial decisions. And I also want to make it very clear to our viewers that 90% of the decision, 90% of our lives rotate around finances. When you don't have money, you will not even sort out your place of work. You've seen people, when someone is financially embarrassed, they will not even sort out the work. So the issues that we talk about are real life experience and are real life issues that someone should understand that for me to make a life worth living in Kampala, worth living in Kabale, worth living in this small, beautiful country, is that I should be able to make financial decisions. And that's how, getting back to your question, if I have my house which has 4 bedrooms, that's an average house for most of us, 4 bedrooms. So what you need to do is to make a place look a little bit accommodative, paint it a little bit.
Aesthetics.
And the bit about this, you don't need to go and buy very expensive furniture, no. I've done this consulting for the Lounge Hotel Matuga, the food station in Kabale, and the Sunset Villas in Matuga. And it's just a simple basic that you have to have some chairs. If a visitor came, where to sit. And for this, even actually, these foreigners, they don't like so much, so much posh stuff. They just need a craft chair in the corner and a skin of an animal in the corner there, which they will leave to see. So it's not much.
But that's optional.
Yes, but that's optional. But also that's not really what you must do. But here, what you must do also, you need to know that this industry, the tourism industry, is about taking care of people very well. So it's not a matter of just opening your house to people, but do you have the ability to receive people? Do you have the ability to keep time if people tell you they're coming at 2 in the morning, they're coming at 3 in the morning, they're coming 3 p.m. Are you there to receive them? Other than just opening your house and when people come, no breakfast, no juices in the house, no food, nothing, and all they get is just disappointments.
Of course, all this aesthetics and like you say, making the experience comfortable and pleasant to the visitors or the guests who are coming to spend at your home, so to speak.
All right.
That has a financial connotation. So let's break it down. Let's look at how much do I stand to own or gain from renting my room for a night to an extra guest.
Excellent. It also depends. I think we don't need to put figures, but I would maybe
What's the range?
Maybe around 100,000 per room, because it per night, and that will even depend on the people you're receiving. But also, if my house is better than Mala's, I stand a chance to benefit financially more than hers. So it's a matter of making your place look very beautiful. And what these people love is just a homely environment. Homely environment, flowers around, of which in our soils the flowers grow freely. You just do some watering and you just have some good green.
Right.
And just have a simple balcony where people sit and read a novel, something like this. It's not much. So it depends on how your property is. But on average, maybe you could charge 100,000.
100,000.
100,000.
That's minus the drinks and the food.
You could put it inclusive,
Okay.
but even if you did and you have three rooms, let's be honest, that's 300,000 per night. How many people earn in this country 300,000 per night?
But you could also choose to say that the food rates are actually exclusive of
Yes,
the room
exclusive.
rates.
Yes.
Okay, let's look at what's the uptake of this particular venture here in Uganda, because if it's clean money coming in, stress-free really, you just have to make sure that the experience is really exquisite for the guests. What's the uptake? Are Ugandans, opening up to this idea of letting in guests in their homes?
Some have, as I've told you, I'm currently consulting with Sunset Villas. They're doing a wonderful job to do that. And you get amazed to the response. The whites are coming in, and it's something that people fear to tap in. But it's as easy as I'm talking about it.
So individuals actually
doing
shine
it very
away.
well. And individuals, people do not understand it,
Right.
but it is less stressful than getting someone to rent your house. And you start demanding rent for 4 months, the person has no money, and before you know it, they have shifted at night.
So what you're saying is that if someone has maybe an extra complex, like a house maybe they built and they don't have a clear plan to it, they can actually go into it without saying that now this complex is actually a hotel. You can just say, I just rent it out to people once in a while whenever I have guests.
Yes, and you share with your friends. You don't need really to have, let's simplify it here. Even if I wasn't literate about internet, I could share with my friends I work with.
Right.
Even if I was lazy to go on the internet. Before you know it, people share, say, no, Godwin has a house, and you people, if you have your guests coming around, the house is located in this place. You just need to do as simple as that. But also you know that people will come to visit you. Mala, you may not be comfortable hosting more than a number of people.
Right.
So it's a matter of calling that friend who told you about their house. You say, Godwin, you have space tonight, and people will call and come and sleep.
Okay.
And they'll be very happy. They'll feel that they were looked after very, very well. Because they'll feel they have slept in a hotel. They have slept in a place outside home. You get my point? Also, let's put in a situation whereby all your rooms are occupied. You get my point? Most of us have our children who have even grown and in boarding school. I mean, if they gave you 400,000 a night in your house, how much is an average hotel to sleep around near your place? Maybe you could find even actually a space of 100,000. You go and sleep. You have a benefit. You've broken routine. You've gone and slept at a place and you've enjoyed yourself. So you have actually 100,000, but you keep the 300,000 which you have and which remains income.
So it's clean money at the end of the day.
It's clean money at the end of the day, yes.
Is it tax-free?
You see, this is your house.
Yes.
And you know that if someone really has stayed in your house not more than 14 days, that's not income. That's not declared income. But also, this is your house. Because let me ask you a question. If your relatives come from your village and see your house, are you charged money?
No.
It's the same idea, kind of.
Okay.
but here is that you earn from your sweat, kind of. You get my point?
Right.
So it's something that we need to really teach Ugandans to look at getting money out of what they do than just doing things for pleasure.
Let me ask you this, and we know that as much as we are not trying to market Airbnb, and you can do it by the minus Airbnb, that is what you're getting from the consultant, is we know Airbnb is pretty much regulated by virtue of you paying some commission to them for every guest that you get.
Right.
It's pretty much regulated. So how safe is it for someone to get into this space individually, minus Airbnb, individually?
Good. You have Facebook. How many people in Uganda are on Facebook? And for some reasons, just chatting, talking about stories in town, talking about what happens in the world, or even talking about issues which are not really serious issues per se.
Right.
So if you got your house, took the photos, went into your bedrooms, took your photos, the sitting room, and posted those photos on the Facebook.
So in terms of safety, what should you do? The ABCs of safety. If you're not with Airbnb, you're doing it at an individual space or scope. Safety-wise, how do you make sure that you actually don't invite maybe, thugs to stay at your place in terms of safety? Because Airbnb is pretty much regulated. In case anything happens to you, then you jump back to them. But if you're doing it as an individual, what are these measures that people can take up in a jiffy as you come to close?
You see, Mana, if you're to do business, there are risks.
Okay.
Even then, I would ask you, if you have built your house and you're going to rent it out, what measure do you have in place that you don't rent someone who will not pay you? What measures do you have in place that you not rent a thug?
Okay.
So it's vigilance, but you start. Because you see, when we keep asking ourselves that, I'm going to school, what if I die on the way?
Right.
The same thing I could ask you, that you went to the university, what if you die in second year? So you start, then you see the moment you start a business, you come to learn the other things on the way. But for me, I cannot really guarantee, even there's no business that you can guarantee.
Okay, so the risks have to be
The
there.
risks are there.
Okay, but it's a sure way of earning money.
It's a sure way of earning.
Thank
And
you so much.
you've done other things where you've not earned, and which even have a higher risk. So why don't you get into where you turn your house into something that you could earn?
Thank you so much, Mr. Godwin Muhanguzi. Of course, now you guys can get into the Airbnb space. Just that extra room that you say it's for when guests come, you can actually rent it out and earn nothing less than 100K, of course, every single night. And you could choose and say that, by the way, if you want meals, have to pay some extra. So that is it for Business Update. Of course, we will make sure that we give you every tip that you need to get to know to earn an extra back in 2019. That's it for Morning at NTV this particular Friday. We bring it to a close. Be sure to keep your views coming. The hashtag is Morning at NTV. Join us again Monday to Friday, 6:30 to 9 a.m. Have a blessed weekend.